Do you know Amun, the golden mask, the boy king? What about Ramses the Great, his famous temples and chariots, and the ego carved into every stone? Of course you know Cleopatra, the beauty, the tragedy, and the Hollywood fantasy. But the pharaohs who saved Egypt? The ones who restored its glory when it was crumbling? Well, history tried to erase them. This is the story of the Black Pharaohs. The year is 730 BC, and Egypt is dying. Not from plague or famine, but from itself. Civil war has torn the kingdom apart, and local warlords call themselves pharaohs. Temples are abandoned. The gods, they say, have turned away. Egypt, the greatest civilization the world had ever seen, is begging for someone, anyone, to save it. But the savior wouldn't come from the north, and not from Greece or Rome. The savior came from the south, from a land Egypt had always looked down on, from the kingdom of Kush, modern-day Sudan. His name was Piye. To understand Piye, you have to understand Kush. For centuries, Egypt had dominated its southern neighbor. They called it wretched Kush, a land of gold and slaves, nothing more. But by 730 BC, the tables had turned. Kush was rich, independent, and deeply, genuinely Egyptian. They worshipped the same gods: Ammonius, Isis, Osiris. They built pyramids, smaller than Egypt's but far more numerous. Over 200 of them still stand today. They spoke Egyptian, wrote in hieroglyphics, believed their kings were divine. But they were not Egyptian. They were Kushite, and their skin was dark. Piye was their king, and he believed the god Ammonius had chosen him for a mission. Pause the video and tell us in the comment if you believe black kings ruled Egypt once. The mission was simple: restore Egypt, unite the Nile, bring the gods back to their temples. Piye didn't see himself as a conqueror. He saw himself as a servant. The gods had chosen him. He was just following orders. And so, in 730 BC, he marched north. His army was disciplined, devout. They didn't burn cities. They didn't enslave civilians. They came to restore, not destroy. City after city surrendered. Egypt's own priests opened the gates. They saw Piye not as an invader, but as a liberator. One city resisted, Hermopolis. Piye surrounded it, starved it, and when it fell, he showed mercy. He spared the people. He even spared the rebel leader, forcing him to become a priest instead of executing him. This was not savage conquest. This was divine purpose. When Piye reached Memphis, the religious capital of Egypt, he did something unexpected. He didn't march in as a conqueror. He entered as a pilgrim. He went straight to the temple of Ptah, made offerings, prayed, and waited for the priests to crown him. Because Piye understood something that brutal conquerors never do. To rule Egypt, you had to become Egyptian. And so the priests placed the double crown on his head: a Kushite king, a black pharaoh, ruler of all Egypt. Piye returned south after his conquest. He died in Kush, buried beneath a small pyramid. But his successors stayed. And for nearly a century, Egypt was ruled by black pharaohs: Shabaka, Shebitku, Taharqa, Tantamani. They restored temples, revived art, brought Egypt back from the brink of collapse. And then, the Assyrians came seeking destruction. Taharqa, the greatest of the black pharaohs, fought them for years. The Bible even mentions him. He was called Tirhakah, king of Kush. This brings us to the main question: why history forgot them? The Assyrians eventually won. They drove the Kushites back south. Egypt fell to new conquerors: Persians, Greeks, and Romans. And the Black Pharaohs? They became a footnote. But the erasure didn't end in antiquity. It continued into the 19th and 20th centuries. When Western archaeologists first discovered the pyramids of Meroë, they couldn't believe that black Africans had built them. So they invented theories about white invaders from the north. They were wrong because the pyramids of Sudan were built by Kushites, by black pharaohs, by the very people history tried to bury. But the pyramids don't lie. The black pharaohs ruled Egypt for nearly 100 years. They saved it, restored it, and then they were forgotten. Not because they were weak, not because they failed, but because their story didn't fit the narrative. Egypt, the world was told, was a white civilization, European, Mediterranean. The black pharaohs were an embarrassment to that lie. So they were erased. But the truth has a way of rising from the sand. This is vintage history, where the past is always trending. Next time, the real Cleopatra, not the fantasy, the genius Rome wanted you to hate. Subscribe and tell us in the comment, what do you think of black pharaohs?